is the Gridiron Guys Podcast with Anthony Stalter and Super Bowl champion Carey Davis.
Driven by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Guys with Super Bowl champion Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. All right, Carey, so we actually tracked how we did last week. The last couple of weeks we've been looking at our picks, or making our picks.
How well did I do?
How do you think you and I did against each other? Because we only tracked what we disagreed with. So what do you think?
How many games was it? 5 or 7?
It wound up being, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
3-2 my way.
3-2 your way.
I think. I don't remember though.
2-2 when we had a push.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. We also had two pretty big upsets. Okay. So you called Bengals over 49ers outright.
Yep.
I said the Niners would cover the 3.5.
Okay.
I knew in the first quarter that thing was going sideways. The 49ers got some issues, and we'll get into that at some point when we preview the Week 9 games. So you had that outright upset. Mm-hmm. I had an outright upset. I had the Panthers over the Texans.
I did. Yeah, I do remember that one. Yeah, I thought, how the hell that happened?
So you and I had some. we each had one really good upset. You also had the Vikings over the Packers. Mm-hmm. And I had the Saints over the Colts.
Okay.
All right. So that was, 2 games where you took the small favorite in one, I took the small favorite in the other. Who's going to come down to Jets and Giants? The worst game of the day.
24 punts. It deserved. The game was a push. Yeah.
You had the Jets -3, I had the Giants -3 or +3.
It pushed.
Jets won in a field goal in overtime. So not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad for us. That actually doesn't surprise me at all. So we'll do that again today. We'll go through each game on the Week 9 schedule. Carey and I will discuss our overall thoughts of not only the game, but also some storylines impacting both teams.
Yep.
And if we disagree, whether it's an outright upset or something with the spread, I'll track it, and then we'll see how we do each week. So why don't we start off with your Steelers, who are hosting the Titans tonight. New life for the Titans. Will Levis, he threw, I think, 4 9 routes last week and completed all of them on a dime.
Looked at it.
I still don't know if he could play quarterback, and neither the Titans, but he could throw a deep ball, that's for sure. And DeAndre Hopkins is supposed to play tonight.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett is banged up.
Yeah.
Not that it matters because the Steelers don't plan on scoring much anyways.
Okay. All right. No, not much of an argument here. But offensively,
but the Steelers are laying a field goal. What are your thoughts here?
I'm gonna take Pittsburgh, and it's because of the defense. I mean, you got guys that are going to come off to that edge. Obviously, Minka Fitzpatrick is going to be out, I believe, with a hamstring injury. He came up a little bit sore last game. But I think Pittsburgh defensively, with a rookie quarterback coming into Heinz Field, whatever we call it now.
Yeah.
It's still Heinz Field.
Acusure or something.
This Heinz, going into Heinz Field, as I said. We will keep it the same. I think that's going to be a tough challenge for the Titans to come over to overcome. Short week. And I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I think they cover, and I think they win the game.
So no disagreement here. Look, this is a rookie quarterback playing on the road off a short week.
Correct.
The Steelers, I've said this before, I knew better than to take them last week. You and I both had the Steelers last week against the Jaguars. Yeah. Jaguars are playing better, but I got duped into like the home dog thing with Tomlin. Yeah. The Jaguars are better. I don't think the Titans are better, regardless of what Will Levis showed last week. Yeah. So I like the Steelers as well. I wouldn't bet it. But for our purposes, I like the Steelers to win, and they might win by exactly 3.
Kenny Pickett, how he feels. So I will give Matt Canada a little bit of love. He caught a great play down on the goal line that Kenny Pickett completely missed Deontay Johnson. He was wide open. You could tell based on the coverage. That should have probably been his first read. He looked right, tried to come back left. Deontay Johnson slipped and wasn't able to make the catch, but he was wide open off of the snap. So, there are some things that are taking place in Pittsburgh that Matt Canada may feel like he's the sole blame for everything, but I think it's pretty much a team effort offensively and how well or how poorly they're playing.
No doubt. All right, we'll move on. The game in Germany. This is the Germany game.
Yeah.
Dolphins and Chiefs. Kansas City's laying 2 as a favorite coming off the loss to Denver. It's one of those, Carey, you can't win the game. You can't win the game before. I'm sorry. Don't lose the game before you can win it. That's the Bill Belichick thing.
Yes.
Don't lose the game for us before you can win it.
Correct.
The Chiefs had 5 turnovers last week. They weren't beating Denver. They weren't beating Little Sisters of the Poor last week with 5 turnovers.
Do you have any concern about the Chiefs and their offense?
Yes,
I do.
Yes and no.
I do. I have a lot of concern. My concern lies in the fact that who is Patrick Mahomes going to throw the ball to?
Besides Travis Kelce?
No, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I know that. Every other team in the league knows that.
Yeah.
When you know who they're going to throw the ball to, what do? You bracket them. You make sure you keep a couple of sets of eyes on that player. We're going to be physical with him at the line. We're not going to allow him to just roam freely. We're going to know where he is, which means what? Other guys got to make plays. Mm-hmm. And for this Kansas City Chiefs team, they are trying their damnedest to find other guys to be consistent and make plays. They brought back McCole Hardman. They got Rashee Rice. They got Sky Moore, who they drafted last year. They got Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They got a lot of guys, and ain't none of them stepping up to the forefront. Rashee Rice is coming along. He's coming along pretty well. But he's still a rookie, and he's going to have his rookie lapses, rookie mistakes. That's a bit of a concern for me, what they're doing offensively in terms of who else is going to step up besides Travis Kelce.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, Carey. I do think that Rice is coming along.
I do. I do as well.
He caught a pass along the sidelines last week and trucked a Denver DB. I think he's got the compete level. There are receivers in the league. Hell, there's just players in the league that just don't have that compete. I think Rashee Rice has the compete factor. And when I see something like that, I'm like, okay, this. He wants it, and I think over time, when that confidence grows, I think he will be the Chiefs' version of a number one. To your point, though, what's the difference between Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore?
I forgot about Kadarius Toney. I didn't even mention him.
They're similar.
They are.
They're gadget players. Kind of got to keep them kind of around.
Justin Watson. Like, you got a lot of guys, but you don't have a guy other than Travis Kelce. That's hard. When you're a number one receiver and you don't have, a 1B, a 2, a guy that steps up and really says, hey, I'm the next guy, they have to accommodate. They have to make sure that they know where I am on the field as well. When you're going through a defensive game plan, preparing for an offense, preparing for the Kansas City Chiefs, you have two names. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Travis Kelce. Maybe you pencil in Isaiah Pacheco if they decide to hand him the ball that game.
It's another question. That's an Andy Reid thing.
But those are they don't have people that are scaring you offensively, and that's a problem because this week there are a lot of names on the other side that scare the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs are playing well defensively, but the Dolphins got some guys.
Okay, so what's your official pick then?
I'm going to go Miami.
All right, so we got our first disagreement.
All right.
What you just said is interesting because you said it this way. He said, I know they're playing well defensively, and then you moved on. Kansas City's playing incredibly well defensively.
They are.
And you could say, well, they gave up 24 points to Denver. The Broncos were in Kansas City's territory all game, and they only scored 24.
Yes, they're also Denver. So
absolutely,
if they do that against Miami, they're gonna give up 55.
They do that. Listen, I got no shot. If it's 5 turnovers, I got no shot. They're gonna win 7. They're gonna hang
points.
70 again.
Yeah, buddy.
I think defensively, Kansas City matches up well with Miami. And if it's a close game late, if Mahomes, assuming he's healthy again, he apparently had the flu last week, assuming he's 100% again, I'll take Patrick Mahomes in a tight game, and I'm only having to lay 2. So I'll take the Chiefs.
All right. We got our first disagreement.
That's right. Packers laying 3.5 against the Rams. There's nothing to like about either teams.
I looked at all of these games this week because we have to do our Pick'em challenge.
You get your picks in?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
And make sure our friends have their picks in as well. Because we could have won it, but we didn't. I looked at these games and I thought to myself, this has to be the worst week of football this season.
It's toughest. Yeah.
Like, in terms of good games or games to decide there are no. It doesn't look like good football matchups to me. So the Rams and the Packers. You got to go Rams, don't you? Do you trust Jordan Love?
No, I don't trust any. I don't trust the Packers. Period.
Who do you trust more?
But Stafford's banged up. Here's the problem with the Rams. It's Carey, you and I sat here in this very studio when we were doing our predictions.
Yeah.
And we both said the Rams are going to have a terrible season. Am I right?
We did.
I said they were going to be in the top 5 when it comes to the draft.
We actually looked at their defense and said, who the hell are these guys?
Absolutely. We knew about Stafford. We knew about McVay. We knew about Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
But when you look at this team, if they suffer any sort of injuries and they're starting to pile up, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Carey, we have reached that point. So Do I trust Jordan Love? Hell no. Do I trust anything about the Green Bay Packers after I took them last week against the Vikings where they normally dominate at Lambeau Field? No. But I trust the Rams banged up team overall less than I do the Packers.
So you're going Packers?
I like the Packers to win outright.
Oh,
I would not lay
disagreement
3.5 though.
We got a disagreement there. Okay.
So
I'm going Rams.
You got the Rams to win outright.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay, let me type this in here. Hold on. Of course, I forgot my laptop, so I'm doing this on my phone. So our second disagreement, you got the Rams outright.
Maybe I should take them. Maybe I should.
I'm
take
not laying
them.
3.5.
Okay.
So this will not be a disagreement if you want the 3.5.
You know what? Give me the 3.5. I do think the Rams win, but give me the 3.5. Just you know what?
You gotta say outright.
I want outright
because I'm not laying 3.5 with the Packers.
Give me the Rams outright
All
to
right,
win.
there we go.
In Green Bay.
I feel
frozen tundra.
I feel like I goaded you into that one.
You probably did. I allowed it to happen, and I'm good for it.
But see, because it was interesting. See, I didn't just take the 49ers outright when you said the Bengals.
Yeah.
I said, listen, I'll lay the 3.5, right? Because that's if you're gonna take a favorite, you gotta lay it.
Correct.
But I don't like the Packers laying 3.5. I think that's just fool's money there. So you just talked about like matchups that aren't great. Commanders are at the Patriots. The Patriots are laying a field goal. I don't like anything about unless Washington's playing Philadelphia. I don't like Washington.
Do you like New England?
No.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
this week's matchups are some of the worst matchups that I can. It's a bad week.
Sam Howell had a really good game last week.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Howell should be filing abuse, whatever the term is, some sort of charges against Eric Bieniemy and his offensive line.
Okay.
They're trying to kill him.
Well,
I don't like anything about New England, but they're going to sack this kid 10 times.
When you set it up for someone else to be, you got it, conspiracy to commit a crime.
And Sam Howell's a patsy. This poor kid. So I'll take the Patriots outright, but I don't like anything about this game. But I do think the Patriots win.
We agree on that one. I'm going to take the Patriots as well.
Right, we don't have to spend much time on that.
Not at all. Nothing happening here.
The Texans are laying 2.5 to the Bucs. So the Bucs are coming off the loss in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. I thought Baker Mayfield was the only thing good about Tampa last week.
Wow.
And you know I'm not a Baker guy.
Wow.
If Baker
would be proud that you said that.
Baker would not be, because he'd listen to everything I said beforehand and he'd hate me because he's got rabbit ears. Baker Mayfield running around doing what he did last week in Buffalo. He avoided countless sacks, especially in the second half. And they benefited from some dumb penalties by Buffalo. They had a sack, but he, on a fourth down, but he grabbed one of the defensive linemen grabbed the face mask. There's another penalty that set up the Bucs well. But without Baker Mayfield, just from a compete standpoint, I'm not talking about like a talent level standpoint. This is not like Mahomes where you're like, without Mahomes, the Chiefs don't win.
Right.
Without Baker's compete, the Bucs aren't even in that game last week.
Yeah.
But the Texans, and I called it, but the Texans are coming off the loss to the Carolina Panthers.
Which is
weird.
Mind-blowing.
But I think that was a spot where, as I said last week, Carolina has played better at home than they have on the road. They're coming off the bye, and Frank Reich's teams usually play well off the bye. I think Houston kind of got surprised with some things at Carolina, because Carolina switched play callers. Frank Reich gave up his play calling duties. Not that the Panthers' offense did much, but I think Houston got fooled a couple of times by some of the changes that Carolina made. I think the Texans bounce back, and I think they covered the 2.5.
So I'm looking at it as well. Both teams sitting at 3-4, but it doesn't feel like the same 3-4. You're right. The Buccaneers started out 3-1.
Yep.
And they've lost 3 in a row. Houston has been in a lot of games. They lost to the Falcons. They lost by 2 points. They lost to the Panthers last weekend by 2 points as well. And so you're looking at a team that is fighting its butt off. A lot of young players.
Yep.
Just if you would have asked me this 2-3 weeks ago, I would have said Buccaneers, no questions asked. Mm-hmm. I think I might go with the Houston Texans as well. Even though they lost last week, the last 2 of the last 3, I think I'm still going to go with the Houston Texans because of they're finding ways to stay in games. They're a young team, still figuring it out. Quarterback is young. Head coach is a young head coach in the league, but they're figuring things out. And I don't trust the Buccaneers as much as I did 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to run away with the NFC South, and they said, "Nope, hold my beer. We're hang around. Why would we want to win this thing?
We want to see how
easily?
this turns out.
Yeah, we'll hang around with the guys. We don't want to party. We don't want to go away from the party.
The Saints, Bucks, and Falcons are all like
the same damn team.
They're kicking their feet up, and they're like, "This is going to be interesting, huh, guys? Let's see how this plays out."
It's terrible.
Somebody win the damn division. All right, so you got the Texans.
I'm going to go Texans as well.
All right, so the Browns are laying 8 against the Cardinals.
Who's playing quarterback?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Kyler.
I'm saying for either team.
So Deshaun is still banged up, and Walker's out.
Kyler
is that correct?
Is Joshua Dobbs got traded.
He got traded to the Vikings.
He's no longer starting for the Cardinals.
No.
And I think it's going to be I can't remember his name. It's not going to be Kyler Murray.
No, because what they want to do, and it's actually pretty smart, I think, Carey, is they want to make sure that they don't get him hurt.
Toon.
Oh yeah, Clayton Toon.
That guy.
Did he play at Northwestern, or was he Tulane or something?
He was from.
I know. I watched Clayton Toon a little bit in college. Let me see here. Let me pull this up.
Houston.
He's a Houston kid. Okay, so he's probably like a total spread, almost a run and shoot type of quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't like anything about this game.
Lineup.
I think the Browns win, but
because of their defense.
Yeah, their defense is going to get after Clayton.
Let's both go Browns. I don't disagree with that. I don't know who's playing quarterback for either team. Hell, I think my shoulder. I think I got about.
You got.
I might have
10?
10 in me. Yeah, 10 to 15.
10 throws.
Yeah, 10 to 15.
Okay, so let's. I know. I saw a report yesterday that Deshaun is questionable. But here's the thing: it's like even if he does play, is he going to be effective?
Right. And he hasn't been. So if PJ, so he's questionable, but if PJ Walker doesn't play, you're back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So not great overall. But again, another game that I'm talking about from this week.
Well, Carey, let's stay on theme then. How about the Bears and the Saints? I'll take the Saints. I'm
taking Saints as well.
I think the Tyson Bagent era
it's run its course.
Well, they beat the Raiders, and then they crashed on Monday night Sunday night against the Chargers. And look, this Bears team, a lot of people were questioning why they would give up a second rounder to get Montez Sweat. I don't blame them for questioning that, because you could have signed him in the offseason without giving up the second rounder. So now if you don't sign him,
it looks really bad.
I mean, this is the same team that gave up a second rounder for Chase Claypool, which was a disaster. I understand what they're doing.
It's almost like they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand what they're doing? Do tell.
I understand the general theme.
Do tell.
We don't know what we're doing in the draft, so let's go get proven talent. But then when that proven talent is Chase Claypool, you don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not great.
Not great. The Saints' offense finally came alive last week against Indy, and I think that it'll roll over this week. I don't love the Saints. I did coming into the year, but they've proven time and time again that they're not good enough either.
Don't trust them.
I don't trust them at all, but I do trust them against bad teams.
Yeah.
Overmatched teams, and Chicago. You look at what they just did. So they come off the win against the Raiders. You got to fly out to L.A. Then primetime matchup. Then you're flying back home. Then you got to go to New Orleans. It's still one of the tougher environments to play. I think the Saints win this one. I don't know about the spread. 8.5. I would probably lay the 8.5 as well, because I think this is probably one the Saints win by 10+.
Okay. I pick them to win as well. I don't know.
Right.
They should win by more than 8.5 playing the Chicago Bears, and we see the madness that they're doing. Let's bring it back a little bit. Here's a staff that has defensive coordinator up and walked away, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
The running back coach.
Well, Upton walked away.
He maybe ushered out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We still don't know what's going on there.
The same thing with the running back coach, who had some HR incidents for the second time and is no longer with the team. You know what that leads to? The head coach getting fired at some point. So you got a team that is down your starting quarterback. You don't know if he's going to be the starting quarterback of the future. You got a DC who is no longer with the team. Running back coach, no longer with the team. What the hell? You bring in Chase Claypool, who is no longer with the team. What the hell are y'all doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing over there?
They don't know.
That's a recipe for disaster.
And you're going
Saints by 14.
And you're going to have two. I wish everybody could have seen Carey's face on that one. And they're going to have two high draft picks. They're going to have their own and the Panthers.
Let me ask you a question.
And they're going to hand it to somebody who don't know what he's doing. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, hell no.
If you're in Chicago, I got a lot of friends from Chicago, as do you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They're in a state of misery.
Most of my friends are Bears fans, and they just
they watch this every weekend. I go on Facebook and I see the complaint. It's like, yeah.
But they're screaming, and they know they're screaming into the void.
Yeah, nobody's
know.
black hole. Nobody's there.
But that's their therapy. They need to, and I don't blame them. I feel bad for Bears fans. All right, this is actually a decent matchup. You got Seattle and Baltimore.
Good matchup.
Seattle's 5-2. I think they're a fraud.
You think
I
so?
think the Seahawks are a fraud. And I've thought this from day one, and all they keep doing is winning.
Keep finding ways.
Yeah, but here, just hear me out for a second, okay?
Okay.
Since that 24-3 win over the Giants, which was just a free win because you and I were playing on the offensive line that night for the Giants, you fared well. I did not. So since that free win against the Giants, this is what they've done. Do you remember the Cincinnati game? Mm-hmm. When they were in the red zone all game and did nothing, and Geno just said, you know what, I'm going to hold on to the ball and see if they give me points if I take a sack. That, I think, was Geno Smith's game plan.
It worked that way.
So they lose 17-13. Then they return home and they beat Arizona 20-10 in a slop fest.
Yes.
Like, Arizona was in that game throughout.
Yes.
Seattle somehow covered, and everybody feels good because I had the Seahawks that day. I covered for me.
Right.
They played like crap. Then they played Cleveland last week. You should have lost outright to P.J. Walker.
Right.
If Walker doesn't throw the pick in the end, you lose that game outright.
Yeah.
So that's your last three games if you're Seattle. If you look back, the only game in which they beat anybody with a pulse was the Lions.
Yeah,
Week 2, and they own Aaron Glenn because they did it last year too when they hung 40 on him.
And trying to figure out how they lost to the Rams in Week 1 was interesting as well.
They got blown out.
We were confused about that one because, like, hey, are the Rams good?
Out,
or are the Seahawks terrible? What the hell is going on?
You made a great point earlier on a team. I think you're talking about the Bucs and the Texans, and you're like, the records, it feels differently.
Correct.
I look at 5-2 for Seattle and 6-2 for Baltimore.
You trust the 6-2 from Baltimore much more.
Baltimore should, no offense, you know this though. Baltimore should have beaten Pittsburgh.
No question.
They gave Pittsburgh that win.
They did.
And the other loss that they had
Indianapolis, where they gave up 18 field goals from 50 yards.
If Matt Gay, in a swirling win, doesn't have a Hall of Fame type of game, Baltimore's unbeaten.
Yeah. They are.
And this offense is starting to click.
Yep.
I'll lay the 6 happily with Baltimore.
I'm going to go with Baltimore as well. They are, I think, I don't want to say they're, because Cincinnati is a team you need to reckon with, and they are coming. They're on their way.
I've been wrong about them.
Yeah, they're figuring things out. But I think in that AFC North, Lamar Jackson and that Baltimore team are top of the class right now, and they are the really one of the top of the classes in the AFC in general. So
they're legit.
Yes, they are. They are figuring things.
You and I both had them to go to the Super Bowl, right?
I had them in the 49ers.
Oh, we had the same teams.
Yep. So I do.
So that won't happen.
Probably not. But I think they are. I take Baltimore in this game because I do think they are the better team. And I agree with you. I think Seattle, they got some guys. They got some players. Devon Witherspoon, for me, you know, I'm an Illinois guy. He is playing lights out. Mm-hmm. Top rookie, I think, in the league right now, but defensive rookie. But Baltimore is really good. They that offense that I was complaining about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago about just not it's clicking.
It's here.
They figure some things out.
And that freaking defense is playing. It's underrated.
Yeah. You
know, Kansas City's starting to get its due, and rightfully so.
Right.
Baltimore still hasn't gotten its due, but it's coming. All right, here's another crap game, and I say this with love in my heart because it's my Falcons. The Falcons are laying 4 against Minnesota. I was so ready to take the Vikings until Kirk Cousins hobbled off the field with it. I was, whatever the number was, I was going to take Minnesota.
Yeah.
But 2 things happened. One, Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles. He's out for the season. So now you have the young kid Hall that's taken over for the Vikings. They acquired Joshua Dobbs, but they're not going to be able to get him up to speed in time to play Atlanta. The other thing that happened was Desmond Ridder got benched.
How do you feel about that?
Outstanding.
Well,
outstanding.
Really feel. It was that bad.
Carey, 7 turnovers in 3 games.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
And all of them were horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the Tampa game, a game that they won, and
Right.
won, in part because, he threw a couple of dimes in the fourth quarter to leave. But here's the thing, Carey, you don't get credit for putting out the fire when you started. You know what I mean? I can't give you credit.
Bring the fire extinguisher in. Hey, buddy, you should.
Yeah, you should.
You
This is
started
your
this
mess.
damn thing. Clean it up.
That's how I feel about Ritter.
Yeah.
7 turnovers. And here's the other thing, too. I thought for sure, because I've been so ready to jump off, not that I was on his bandwagon, but I was so ready to say, Arthur Smith, you're done.
Right.
You're done, dude.
Right.
Because I thought for sure he was going to go back to Ritter.
Yeah.
Even after he saw Taylor Heineke lead him on 4 scoring drives. Desmond Ritter can't move the damn ball. And Heineke takes over, and Arthur Smith's offense goes up and down the field.
Looks different.
They didn't win that game last week in Tennessee, but Carey, I think that this is going to be not a good team, but I think it's going to look differently with Heineke.
Minnesota without Justin Jefferson, without Kirk Cousins, new quarterback rolling into town.
Can't run the ball.
Can't they why you let Dalvin Cook walk? That's beyond me. I don't know. But Alexander Madison, I think he's a great guy. He hasn't performed to the level. I don't think he scored a rushing touchdown yet this season, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think
it sounds familiar.
I don't think he has. But either way, they are they're cooked.
Yeah.
You're cooked. You wanted, and you know what, Stalter, I'm going to say it. Good for him. Because you were trying to get rid of Kirk Cousins. You were talking about moving on from Kirk Cousins. Oh, we can find something better. Can you? Because there are a lot of freaking teams in this league that would love to have Kirk Cousins as their quarterback.
Yeah.
He may not be the prettiest. He may not have all of the things that the other ones have. But you know what he does? He finds ways to win games. And you know what you're going to be stuck with? A receiver in Justin Jefferson, who is probably on the track for a Hall of Fame career, who's going to say, get me the hell out of here because you all didn't re-sign this guy who was the best guy for us. You tried to go another route. You tried to save money. You tried to go cheaper and younger. You thought you had the hotter girl over here. Yeah, no. Should have stayed with the one you came with.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to lose all of it. It's going to fall apart because of the decision. Kirk Cousins got hurt. So, it changes the decision, obviously, but the decision was pretty much already made for them, that they were going to go in a different direction.
Good call.
Good for them.
Falcons for you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Begrudgingly. The win by 1.
13-12.
They'll be losing all game, and then they'll win by 1. That's kind of what they do. All right, Colts and Panthers. Another game that we don't have to spend a lot of time with. Congrats to the Panthers for winning.
Good for those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colts.
I have zero feel for this game.
That's why I told you this is we've given at least 5 or 6 games to this point where you're like,
We got a good one coming up, though. I'll as of right now, I think in our Pick'em Challenge, I'm on the Colts. That might be one I flip to Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, because as I said, Carolina's played well at home.
Okay, well, I'm going to.
You know what? Because you've been so staunch on that, I'll take the Panthers. I'm going to take the Panthers out.
Please write it down.
All right, I'm going to write this down.
Just put a notch next to my name.
We haven't fought in a while here, so you know what? Because you had such a bad attitude with Carolina,
I did.
I
just liked last week. I liked Houston more than I liked Carolina. I mean, they hadn't won a game. There was nothing to like there.
You know what I just did? I took that personally, Carey.
Okay.
And I'm not a Panthers fan. I'm a Falcons fan. They're in the same damn division. But you know what? Because of your disgust for me, in what you just did there, I'm going to take the Panthers.
You know what I hope then? I hope the Panthers figure out a way to run the table and win the NFC South.
Why would you hurt me like that?
Run the table. Nobody in that division wants to win anyways. Yeah, go ahead. Win the rest of them.
10 losses.
Go ahead.
They win the division, just like Tampa a year ago. Yeah.
Do it.
All right, now this is a good matchup. You got the New York Football Giants going to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Carey, you were right. This is there are 2 matchups that are actually good coming up, but
the whole week
is bad.
It's 2 games where you can say and they're the last 2. They are the Sunday night game,
the 325. Dallas and Philly,
game.
yeah. The Chargers and Jets, just from a...
I don't give a
I
damn
know,
about
but just from the record standpoint, like a wild card standpoint, you know?
You want to see Zach Wilson on Monday night?
I don't want to see Zach Wilson.
You want to see Brandon Staley in front of a national audience?
I'm tired of watching the Jets and Raiders. Like every why? I understood the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers, but why the Raiders?
Well,
Raiders. This is like the third time they're going to be. Well, not this week, but last week they were on Monday night. This is the third time they've been in prime time. I think
they
what are
thought
we doing?
They had something with Jimmy G. He's a model.
Oh man.
No.
Well. The Raiders know they don't because they benched him for Aiden O'Connell. And I'll take the Raiders.
Their coach.
I'll take the Raiders.
You're taking the Raiders when they don't even have they fired their coach and GM?
Do you know why I'm taking the Raiders?
Oh, hell.
Because all reports are that Josh McDaniels has been he's been trying to do the Belichick dictator thing, and I think this Raiders team is going to play loose, and I like Aiden O'Connell 10 times more I like Jimmy G right now, and Jimmy G went to a Super Bowl. And Aiden O'Connell's been in the league for an hour.
Give me Danny Dimes.
Did you just hear yourself?
Danny over. Do you know
this is where we're at?
Yeah, we are, because this is terrible football this week. But this team fired their coach and GM in the Las Vegas Raiders.
And rightfully so.
And you want me to believe they fired them in the middle of the night. After the Monday night game?
Yes.
After the debacle,
the Lions, in which Jimmy G threw.
Get out of here! In the still of the night,
he was showing it to the fans instead of Devontae Adams.
And you want me to believe that Aiden O'Connell is the savior?
Yes.
Okay.
At least for this week.
No, I'm gonna say
Playing
no.
the Giants.
Exactly. Healthy Daniel Dimes is back in the fold. Hopefully with a neck.
You don't believe that?
I would feel
At least
much
tell
better
me
if it was
Saquon.
Tyrod Taylor.
At least I would too. I'd probably take the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Giants. We can disagree on that one.
Okay, and I'll go over these two since we're yelling at each other a lot. All right, Eagles Cowboys. This is
this one.
I like the Eagles in this one. I think Dallas gives them a game. I don't think it's a San Francisco type thing.
No.
They know each other well. They split last year. In fact, this is the first time we're actually going to see in the last 2 years Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, Dak didn't play in the Philly game.
Yeah.
And then Gardner Minshew started in Dallas.
I thought it was flipped, but either way, yes. Was
Gardner home? And either way,
yeah.
Cooper Rush started for Dallas the one time, and Gardner Minshew started for Philly one time. Yeah. So I think this is gonna be fun. And Dallas has played well since that San Francisco game. However, this is where I'm going with Dallas. They haven't beat anybody.
Right.
They have really taken care of business when they face bad opponents. Okay,
so it's time to play.
There is something to be said about that.
Lost to the Cardinals.
Outside of the Cardinals, yeah, that was. But I just like Philly better. I think they've got top to bottom. They got better coaching. They got a better roster.
And I think they've started to figure some things out offensively. They were, along with the Baltimore Ravens, one of the teams that I said offensively it just doesn't feel like it's clicking well enough yet. Now, DeAndre Swift had a couple of really good games there, and he's kind of disappeared as of late. But I think that what the Eagles have offensively, what they do, and what they do defensively is dynamic. You're not going to be able to run the football. You're not going to be able to sit in the pocket and have the time of your life.
Yeah.
They're going to get after you. So I like the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they are this might be I'll say it. I think they're the best team in the NFL right now.
Philly?
Yes. Because I don't trust Kansas City. And
San Francisco speaks for itself.
Yeah. And then the second best team is probably
Miami or Baltimore.
Okay, yes. Those two.
You're thinking somebody else.
They're on their way.
Jacksonville?
Cincinnati. I don't think about Jacksonville. I honestly, I don't think about Jacksonville at all. And maybe that's my fault.
It's a personal.
They never come to mind as a top 5 team in the league. The Cincinnati Bengals, you have to wipe away what happened early in the season when they were stinking it up because Joe Burrow was hurt.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is a football freaking player, and he's healthy. And this team is going to cause some problems down the stretch. So they are probably Miami, Baltimore, 2, 3, yeah. And then I would have Cincinnati right there behind them.
And we got to
despite the record.
Detroit, they're somewhere in the top 6 too, top 7.
I don't trust them.
Okay.
I just for whatever they keep adding more receivers to their. I don't trust them. I love Dan Campbell.
At least they gave it to Gibbs.
They did do that. Thankfully, thank God. Finally, I love Dan Campbell. I still think that they're too young, despite having a quarterback that has played in a Super Bowl, that has done all. I think that team is still. I think they are a divisional winner and probably out in the first round, depending on who they play.
Wow.
Depending on how it shakes up.
Because they're going to face somebody
you
not
might
great.
be playing a team. I mean,
unless it's Seattle.
But you might be playing San Francisco if Seattle continues to win and San Francisco kind of stumbles here and there.
True.
So, yeah, it could potentially be them out after, the division round.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility.
Cincinnati, since we're transitioning here, the Bills and the Bengals. So I have been out on Cincinnati all year. I've said that they're not going to make the playoffs. Like Zach Taylor, I think, is going to be exposed at some point. The Bengals are my Grim Reaper. They're the ones that I've said, Grim Reaper doesn't exist. I don't have to worry about him. And that knock that you're talking about, I go, son of a, he's here, isn't he?
Yep.
The Grim Reaper's here for me.
What number does he wear?
He wears number 9.
Is it Josh Allen? Is he the Grim Reaper?
No, he's not. No, the Bengals are the Grim Reaper.
The Bengals, okay.
Yeah, the Bengals are my Grim Reaper.
I got you.
Because I've been saying doesn't exist. Like, they're the boogeyman.
Yeah.
He doesn't exist. I don't have to worry about him. And all of a sudden, I heard something under my bed. And it happened a couple of weeks ago in Arizona when Joe Burrow looked healthy for the first time. I heard a rustling under my bed. I go, I'm still not worried. And then last week, I finally looked under the bed, and there was the boogeyman. And he's like, I'm here, Mother Blanker.
Uh-oh.
I'm here.
Uh-oh.
And I heard what you've been saying about me.
Yeah.
I'll take the Bengals.
I'm with you. I think, again,
they bullied this team last year.
I cannot take – first of all, you lose 2 games to start the season against division opponents. That's always a tough game, and your quarterback isn't healthy, right? So the only loss on their record that looks really bad is the Tennessee Titans loss, because I don't know how the hell that happened. I don't know.
Burrow. Burrow.
He was, but even still,
Yeah.
he was. But a healthy Joe Burrow, a healthy Jamar Chase. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals until further notice. I'm going to take them. I think they are the better team. I don't know. Death taxes and Josh Allen turns the ball over. That's what I do know. He's gonna he more than likely, and that's the thing that's going to keep the Buffalo Bills from being a Super Bowl contender.
Yep.
Year after year, he does not take care of the ball enough. If he does it, they have a chance to be a really good football team. But he will not. He's too. Sometimes he's too good for his own good.
Yeah.
Like he has so much talent that he feels like he's going to make a play and he's going to turn the ball over. So give me the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm with you. They also bullied the Bills in the playoffs last year in Buffalo. I mean, bullied them.
Yeah.
And I look at Buffalo's defense now, and it's worse because of the injuries.
Yep.
Matt Milano and then Tre'Davious White.
Yep.
They're a worse defense now than what they had in January when Cincinnati blew them out. All right, last matchup, Chargers and Jets. I think the Jets got away with one last week in an ugly game. At 4-3, I think Jets fans might be feeling okay, but Chargers clicked last week a little bit. I don't trust the Chargers, but I trust them in this matchup.
Give me the Jets.
Really?
The Jets? Yeah.
Outright, or you want the points?
I don't know why.
You want the points?
I do know why, actually. Because I feel as though, Brandon Staley, I think he's an outstanding man. I would assume that he's a great guy, might be able to learn some things in terms of football and defense.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to have a beer with the guy. But you know what I don't want?
Him coaching your team?
Fourth quarter.
He's going to mess it up.
I feel like something is going to happen.
Yeah.
This is a team that if they would have lost to the Chicago Bears last week, I think he would have been fired.
Yeah.
I think he's that close to losing his job because of all of the analytical decisions that he makes week to week. And as bad as the Jets are up front, because they are not great, I still think that they are going to be better than the Chargers. You flying all the way across country. I mean, all of that. Yeah. It's not the same. It's not like you're taking a bus, but it does matter.
Factors
so yeah, I'm going to take the Jets.
All right, there you have it.
Got?
Carey, Dolphins. Yes. Anthony, Chiefs.
Boo.
Carey, Rams. Anthony, Packers, and that's a money line. So the Rams got to win outright.
Okay.
Colts for Carey, Panthers for Anthony. Carey's got the Giants. I have the Raiders in the toilet bowl. One of the toilet bowls, and Carey, Jets. I got the Chargers. So that's our disagreement.
Is that 5 games?
Got another 5.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
So
Hopefully we don't have a push this week.
That's Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. This has been a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Gridiron guys will be back next week. We'll break down the storylines and the matchups for Week 10. Everybody have a great week, and good luck to anybody doing any bets and things like that. For Carey Davis, I'm Anthony Stalter. See you next time on Gridiron Guys.
Thanks for listening to the Gridiron Guys podcast with Super Bowl champion Carey Davis and Anthony Stalter.
Driven by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
Check out the Gridiron Guys podcast page at 101ESPN.com.